Love you,
Love you,
Melanie. Rest in peace.
Melanie Woods' friends and former neighbors joined in the vigil, releasing Silver Star balloons for a woman they knew as a bright light.
She was just the most lovely, loving, charismatic, just so smart, beautiful, and I don't know, she was just the best. She was great.
Last Tuesday, police found 33-year-old Woods stabbed to death in her bathtub inside her apartment on 2nd Avenue after a wellness check because she missed a flight to California. 2 days later, her estranged boyfriend, 51-year-old Candido Rodriguez, was arrested and charged with her murder. The group We All Really Matter, or WARM, organized the vigil. Woods' family issued a brief statement.
Melanie was a lover of traveling, a best friend to many, an adventure seeker, a loving dog mom. She was someone who always rooted for the underdog.
Stephanie McGraw is the founder of the WARM Outreach Group and a survivor of domestic violence. The group has a 24/7 hotline and will drive in this black van in the middle of the night to get a victim to immediate safety.
We have to cut through bureaucracy and critical issues and cut through somebody's policy and procedure because we understand how critical it is when a woman is calling at that 11th hour saying she needs help.
The group has held similar vigils for other domestic violence victims, including Asia Johnson, who was shot and killed 2 years ago while pushing her baby in a stroller on the Upper East Side.
Every
but
week
we must understand the importance of knowing the red flags when a woman is trying to leave a domestic violence relationship.
Now, the 24-hour number for that domestic outreach group is 917-736-1046.
Our primary goal is to go and catch the person that did that, right? But who is there to help that person right there at 2 in the morning when we walk away? Because we got to go to another call. So who can we call?
This Domestic Violence Awareness Month, nonprofits are reaching out to those who may not ask for help.
CBS News' Jesse Mitchell introduces us to the Harlem woman helping others through her own experience.
At the office of We All Really Matter, or WARM, founder Stephanie McGraw counts donations ahead of a weekend diaper drive while designing posters for next week's awareness walk. She hopes to connect with victims who have been suffering in silence.
We were already in a pandemic before this pandemic hit. It just put women in danger. The abuser had the green light, and we saw the numbers go up 75% right here in our community.
McGraw knows firsthand the importance of escaping abuse. She finally broke free 15 years ago.
He was a manifestation of how I felt about myself. I was never going to find love until I learned how to start loving myself. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but it is the door to freedom.
But on her journey to independence, she didn't see many advocates who looked like her. Now, WARM has a team of survivors on staff who respond to domestic emergencies alongside police.
I just go right in. Do you want to live or you want to die? Because sometimes it's just that critical.
The notebook she carries, filled with flyers of vigils for victims, proves her point.
Every single last one of these women were murdered, and we honored them.
McGraw encounters many who face financial fears, making them stay in abusive relationships. So this Saturday, WARM will host Love on the Block to give away clothes, diapers, and wipes to families. And on Thursday, the 27th, the team will take a walk around the Polo Grounds Towers to call for an end to domestic abuse.
The radio calls that come out of the Polo Grounds are 60% higher. It's astonishing, right here in Harlem. So we're going right in the belly of the beast.
She believes speaking up may just save a life. In Harlem, Jesse Mitchell, CBS 2 News.
And if you or someone you know is dealing with abuse at home, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline, 800-799-SAFE. That's 800-799-7233.
As you can see, we were here on the block today. We brought love to the block. It was a huge success. We had bouncy house, cotton candy, but most of all, we had love and we have resources because we know that silence hides violence, and we want to break the silence of gun violence and domestic violence. And the way we do that is bring information, resources to our people, because we are the people, right? And united we stand. Like Marvin Gaye said, what's going on? We got to find a way to bring some love in here today. Our kids were able to come out, our women were able to come out and just enjoy themselves. And the message is silence hides violence. Tell your story, because your story just might not only free you, but it just may free somebody else. So let your light shine.
Stephanie right here saved my life. I had a domestic
love and conquer hate.
Yeah, Liz, police are investigating this as a case of domestic violence and believe the person responsible is that 45-year-old man who has died of a self-inflicted gunshot wound to the head. There are 2 survivors who are in stable condition. They are that mother and her young adult son, and police believe the shooter who died was the mom's ex-boyfriend.
We cannot separate gun violence and domestic violence. There was a gun that was used in this. 3 people were shot.
First responders got the call at 12:40, rushing all 3 shooting victims to Harlem Hospital. The violence unfolding in a 9th-floor apartment here at the Johnson houses, where an armed 45-year-old man allegedly knocked on the door of his ex-girlfriend's apartment, and her 19-year-old son opened the door. The 45-year-old man, according to sources, shot the young man in the arm and torso, then shot his 40-year-old ex right behind the ear before turning the gun on himself inside that apartment. Neighbors tell us the woman and her ex both grew up in this complex and have family and friends here who are devastated and didn't know there was any sign of trouble. But domestic violence survivor and victims advocate Stephanie McGraw says families and victims sometimes don't know what warning signs to look for.
Because a lot of times we have people that just don't know how to say I'm hurt. So guns and weapons and violence and knives come out. So our job is to offer these resources so they are no longer have to use such a critical way out.
Yeah, that advocate noting that just in this very same building last year in April of 2023, there was a woman who was stabbed to death by her ex-boyfriend. And the violence here is just tragic. Police have not released the names of the people involved here today, but they have recovered the gun they believe was used. Again, the mother and son are in stable condition, and police say the shooter, believed to be her ex-boyfriend, has died. We're live in East Harlem. Sonia Rincon, Channel 7.
I met one of the sisters whose baby, her twins.
Dragged her as she fought
just took her in and finding a hotel for her to be for the night and give her the support that she needed.
We're the critical response team. We go
together
at
for 2
night.
years before breaking up last week.
We have women in our center. If you come up and visit with us,
they might be gone from this world physically, but
to see what God has allowed me to build. So every brick that was thrown at me, God has used it to build the foundation that we have. And so I am now being able to use my life as a classroom. So I go above and beyond because I know how it was for me, and I didn't have those things in place when I was coming out. So I created something for women, and we go with the police. We go, and they use us because there's no one else there. They call us at 11 o'clock at night. Sometimes I get out my bed because I live 5 blocks from my office. I walk over there, but we are now at a place where we need a building because we are expanding right now, and the need is so critical. You know, just last week, last year we had Lisa. She was Asia was murdered. She was walking her baby on 95th Street, and her ex-boyfriend came up to her, murdered her, and she was strolling her 3-month-old baby.
Wow.
This is real serious. And he was in a gang, so we had to move the mother and the family out. My team went in there, packed them up, got their stuff out, took it to storage, and then got them to a safe location. That's who we are.
Wow.
We are on the scene. We're embedded and invested in our community because it's the unity that we have to bring to our people that's been, it's just been something that just has not, we haven't experienced it in a long time.
Right.
Thank you all for being here. Right now we're here because we have a higher calling. If you do the crime, you must do the time. If you do the crime, you do the time. So we're saying to you, Mr. Carl, you know, what if it was your mama, your sister, your brother, your aunt, your uncle that was murdered, that was accused, that was almost kicked down on a train? I have Shanice Young. I have Brittany Duffy. I have Carmen Rivera. All these women were murdered by men that had long rap sheets. There's no separation. Violence is violence. Yeah. We're not separating domestic violence and gun violence. We're saying now we all really matter. My name is Stephanie McGraw. I'm the founder and CEO of WARM, and I stand here today with you as a survivor. I've walked through it. I've been through it. And now I'm here in my community to help my Black and brown and Latino sister come through it. So today, as we stand here in front of Mr. Hastings' office, we say sign the bill, not when, now. Sign the bill now. Sign the bill now. We don't want a mother waking up to hear that her son was murdered because of gun violence. We don't want another woman to wake up hearing that her daughter was murdered because of gun violence and domestic violence. You have an opportunity. You are the one with the power that can rewrite. We don't want you to change it. We just want you to critique it a little bit. We just want you to take a turn in the dark areas that we walk through every day in this community. Take that turn so we can bring some light and healing to our community. Stop the violence now. And my message is real clear. Sign the damn bill. Yeah! My heart is full with such joy. As we close out this evening, Love on the Block, we came here to this community and spread love and joy and music and food.
I'm Kiani. I'm so thankful to be here. We're warm and Love on the Block with my children. We're enjoying the day. They have food, festivities. And we're safe. That's the main thing.
Because we know only love can conquer hate. And we know that silence hides violence. And we're here in our community to talk about these issues, these very critical issues of domestic violence, where women are still suffering in silence. So we came here, we conquered, we had a wonderful time, and we are just so honored that love is the answer. And remember, we all really matter.
Warm, but it's been over 12 years in
It's
Harlem.
been actually 13 years.
13,
yes, this is 13. I gave birth to WARM in 2010, coming out of this cycle of domestic violence.
Yeah.
And when I came back to Harlem, I didn't see any women that looked like me. I didn't see any representation of women of color, and I certainly didn't see any lived experience women. Where I come from, it is you are to be quiet, and it is a shame. And we're saying that domestic violence is not a shame, it's a crime. And we want to expose it for what it is, because women are dying. This book right here, every woman in this book has been murdered. We did the candlelight vigils, did the funerals for mother and children. So it's a critical issue here, and I'm so honored for you to have us here. And one of the things that we want to talk about is it's important to feel. You got to feel first. Then you got to deal. And then you got to come to that table of healing our body, mind, and spirit. So that's what we're going to do in Harlem this year. We in Harlem on October 5th is bring our community together, because we've been devastated. We live in deserts, right? We live where our women and children are in battlefields. They're in the war. So we want to bring some kind of restitution, some kind of understanding of peace, so you could get out. But you're not going to get out until you move that muscle, because when you move the muscle, the thought is going to move with it. Absolutely. So we want to give them an opportunity to come in and start the process of healing, because that's the only way out.
Will be held today for NYPD transit officer Ariana Reyes Gomez, who was fatally stabbed inside her home in the Bronx early Monday morning. It appears Officer Gomez was a victim of domestic violence.
So many women and people suffer in silence because they don't know or feel like they have anywhere to go. Checking on your strong friends. See how they're doing. Make sure they're okay.
Now, Ariana's estranged husband did turn himself into police and is now facing murder and manslaughter charges. The victim's advocates say this case is a tragic reminder of how widespread the domestic violence problem is in New York. So joining us this morning is Stephanie McGraw, a survivor of domestic violence and also the founder of WARM, which stands for We All Really Matter. So good morning, Stephanie. We appreciate you being with us.
Good morning. How are you?
We're good. We're good. Thank you again. Let's start from the beginning. Are you familiar at all with the history of domestic violence involving Officer Gomez? Did her family and friends, did they share any information with you?
I am very familiar. I am a woman that lived this experience. I am a survivor of domestic violence. I grew up in domestic violence in my community and my household, and it is something that we are still ashamed about. So our job is to expose domestic violence for what it is, a crime, not a shame.
Did she have a history, though, in her family, in her relationship with her estranged husband?
Yeah, you know, the history was there, but it's such a silent, it is a silent killer. And the history was it's okay, it's not that bad, you know, he's going to get better. You know, not recognizing the signs of domestic violence is very dangerous. So the history was there for quite some time.
Yeah, and we talk about the history. You know, the 34-year-old suspect turned himself in. He has no criminal record. So I guess, you know, how often do you see this kind of thing play out, where a domestic abuser might turn themselves in if they're alleged of a crime?
Yeah, we've seen this happen in a case with Neves in the Bronx. Her husband, her boyfriend, stabbed her to death, and he turned himself in. You know, this is becoming something of a norm now, and that's what's frightening to us as a domestic violence organization that's trying to prevent domestic violence. It is because in our communities, it's something that is accepted. It's like, it's okay if you hit your girlfriend. It's okay if you beat your wife. It's okay if you disrespect your mother. It's okay if you're rude to your neighbors. It is becoming a norm, and it is very, very dangerous. And she was such a young, vibrant, amazing woman, 31 years old, had a 4-year-old son.
Now, you know, a lot of people, we always hear that it's people leaving relationships. And it's that time when it's the most dangerous time for those for them to leave, just because of instances like this. So do you think there's just anything that we can do to address that problem?
Yes, we can get the word out that silence hides violence, and this is something that you are never to be ashamed of. I created this organization 15 years ago because I almost was killed. And I was almost killed because I was trying to leave. I was ready to get out, but the mistake I made was I told him, I'm leaving. I can't do this anymore. I deserve better. But because there was no education about domestic violence, because the community that I grew up in, the Black and brown community, it's like, it's what happens in a house, stay in a house. So we don't readily talk about this. So our job at WARM, We All Really Matter, is to educate women. The most dangerous time in an abusive relationship is when you're trying to get out, because it's all about power and control. Love has nothing to do with these kind of relationships. So our job and our community is to educate women how to move out safely.
Yeah. You know, Stephanie, I think what you're doing is real important. Thank you for being here this morning to talk about it. It is important to talk about it. And if you are in need or help or support, reach out, right, to the We All Really Matter crisis hotline, the number right there on your screen, 917-736-1046. Stephanie, thanks again.
We all really matter. We all really matter. We all really matter. Hey, ho ho! Domestic violence has got to go. Domestic violence has got to go. Amazing.
to go.
Wake up, this is your fight too.
Wake up, this is your fight too.
We all really matter.
We all really matter.
We all really matter.
We all really matter.
We all
by the story of a 16-year-old girl stabbed to death by her boyfriend. As police search for her killer, activists search for solutions. CBS 2's Tim Nicholas reports now from Harlem.
I was devastated. Stephanie McGraw adds to a growing memorial for Sanaya Lawrence. Purple flowers, a favorite color of the 16-year-olds, and a color that represents domestic violence awareness.
I was angry, I was upset, but I'm saying another death, senseless death, because this could have been avoided.
The domestic violence survivor herself, McGraw, is the CEO of a nonprofit called Warm, dedicated to helping people affected by domestic violence. She says when she heard a 16-year-old was stabbed by her boyfriend in Harlem, she went to the police station, introduced herself to the victim's mother, and tried to help comfort her through a devastating night.
We helped her through her grieving process, and we were just there to support her.
Police say Sanaya's 18-year-old boyfriend, Zaire Crumbly, stabbed her in the neck inside an apartment Sunday evening on Adam Clayton Powell Jr. Boulevard. Now, as police search for Crumbly, Warm is planning a Tuesday evening vigil for Sanaya outside the building where police say she was stabbed. And the nonprofit is urging domestic violence victims to seek help.
This was a minor. She was a child. She was 16 years old. Her life was just beginning.
A 2019 survey from the CDC found that about 1 in 12 U.S. high school students experience some form of physical dating violence, and girls experience dating violence at a higher rate than boys. Victims often struggle with depression and anxiety.
Silence hides violence. If you're in an abusive relationship, don't be silent. You can save a life.
McGraw doesn't want to add to another memorial or console another heartbroken mom in Harlem. Tim McNicholas
was stabbed to death by her older brother. A candlelight vigil was held in honor of 20-year-old Shayla Johnson. This took place outside of the Lincoln houses on Madison Avenue. Yesterday morning, police had responded to an assault at the apartment complex, and they found Johnson with multiple stab wounds to her neck and her chest. She was pronounced dead a short time later. Her 26-year-old brother, Rodney, who shared an apartment with her, was immediately taken into custody.
We don't want her life to be in vain as we all gather here today. 20 years old, senseless, gone too soon, senseless. When are we going to stop the violence in our community?
Police say Rodney Johnson had previously been arrested for violating orders of protection. Now he's charged with murder.
Wow, wow, wow. If somebody wants to get involved, how can they?
Thank you for asking that question. So Warm is a 50C domestic violence organization. Mm-hmm. We're at 8 West 126th Street. That's between Lenox and 5th. We are open 9 to 6. We work on Saturdays from 9 to 2. But if you want to get involved, you can reach out to us at weallreallymatter at gmail.com, or you can find us on Instagram. That's Warm NYC. We need everybody involved. Like I said at the top of this segment, this is a human issue. This is not just a domestic violence issue or man issue. It's a human issue, and it's affecting us from around the world. So we just encourage everybody. You can reach out to us at 917-736-1621 or 917-736-0680.